What is going on, you guys? I'm coming to you today with a Thrawn build, specifically for the fact that Thrawn is coming out soon. We only have a couple more days until this magnificent Thrawn Alliance's book, Timothy Zahn's latest novel, comes out. So in honor of that, I figured I'd do a Thrawn build, and I kind of want to change things up a little bit, because I have long said that Thrawn tends to work best in builds that are using lots of squadrons, and I want to do squadron commands, because if you're not using squadrons, you're only, really not taking the full advantage of Thrawn's potential, because you get, you're only using 3 out of the 4 commands as opposed to 4, and so he can give you so much more. But I decided, let's take a different approach to Thrawn, and let's actually try to use Thrawn in a list without squadrons. So how could I do that? Well, I figured I would go with Star Destroyers. First thing I want to do is a Kuat. Now, I figure with something like this, you don't really need concentrate fire as much, and you really don't need squadrons if we're going to do a squadronless build. So how can we probably try to take advantage of this? Well, a Kuat is going to get up close and personal, so a Kuat is definitely going to need Nav to get up close and personal, and a Kuat is also definitely going to probably need engineering, since that Kuat is going to take some damage. So I figured we would run 2 Star Destroyers, and I'll put a Simoon in there, because I'm going to have the Kuat in the front, the Simoon in the back, and I'll put Thrawn on this thing. And one of the things that I want to do is have Thrawn giving out those those navs, and these guys giving out the engineering, so a little bit of both, and ways to keep them alive. And this is just a different attempt. This isn't necessarily going to be a super competitive build, but I think it's just going to be just a different take on Thrawn, at least compared to something that I've done. So I'm looking at different ways to use engineering. Now, first off, let's talk about the support ships that we're going to have. I am going to have a Gozanti with a very seldom I see used upgrade called Repair Crews. So now this Gozanti can be doing engineering and doing repair crews to take damage off of the Star Destroyers, which is going to be very, very useful, because we're going to be taking, especially that Kuat. Notice I'm not putting Thrawn on the Kuat. So this guy will be taking damage cards off of that, hopefully taking a crit that maybe inhibits his ability to attack. And also, let's go ahead and toss an Architon's command cruiser in here for the support team, and we'll go with projection experts, right? Now this Architon's has a engineering value of 3, so it's not too bad, and this will totally work with Thrawn. Architons like to do nav anyway, so if you get an extra engineering command in there, now this ship can transfer a shield and then just regenerate it, no problem, for those 3 points, or it can transfer 2 shields. And, if the Star Destroyer really needs it, depending on where they're at, where they are, So a lot of stuff they can do. Or if they've taken damage themselves, they can work on that. But, or if they don't necessarily need to transfer shields, they'll just take a token. And then they'll still have 2 points to use on a subsequent turn, which they can just transfer 2 shields over. That's going to be a very, very nice thing for something like a Kuat. So I like those. Now I've got 2 support ships that are able to take advantage of the extra engineering command, and also can definitely make use of a nav command, because Gozantis don't have the best maneuverability, and they also don't want to get hit. And the Architons definitely can use help with that nav command. And you've got some firepower. And the Gozanti doesn't have much firepower, but it is a shooting ship. The Architons has got some respectable firepower, that's for sure. But the Simoon's going to be one of our bigger shooters, right? Simoon, and another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do shields to maximum, because if we're going to be handing out shields with like Architons and stuff like that, I want that Kuat to be able to fully recharge its shields, and almost fully repair, like a Borg cube, right? So we're going to call this Thrawn's Borg cube. And kind of going with that. Now, yeah, there's a couple different ways you could do this here. You could run, like, maybe you don't need the Simoon. Maybe you run a couple of Architons or something like that. There's different ways you could approach this. But, or heck, you could put the Chimera title on the Kuat. There's different ways. But I wanted 2 Star Destroyers in case that Kuat does end up going in a little bit too quick and taking some seriously concentrated fire all in 1 turn before I can repair it. We'll still have a Star Destroyer. But for the Simoon, let's go ahead and give it gunnery teams. let's give it spinal armament. I mean, really give it lots of forward firepower. That'll be fun. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to give these Star Destroyers 7th Fleet. So as the Kuat is going in, and as in case some damage comes back to the Simoon, they can reduce that damage total. This will help keep this Kuat alive a little bit longer. You know, I think that's a good idea. The Kuat is going to have some interesting stuff on it, though. The Kuat, first off, we're going to put Governor Price on board because we want that Kuat to be able to try and get that last in, first out. Fun stuff. And you know, I really do like assault concussion missiles. I really do. They're a lot of fun. And of course, we need the RAR black die rerolls with ordnance experts. This brings us all the way up to 398. Now, 398 is awfully expensive. We can probably drop 7th Fleet if we really want that initiative bid, which lately I've been seeing that being a thing. Or we could downgrade spinal armament to something a little different, like maybe XI7, or maybe even something a little bit cheaper, like dual turbo lasers is a possibility. Quad battery turrets might be an option for a Simoon that might not want to go that fast. Giving us a blue die or getting that accuracy at long range, that's not necessarily a bad idea either. Gives us 394. There's a lot of different ways we can try to get that initiative bid in. We could drop assault concussion missiles for the proton torpedoes as well, if we wanted to do that. So there's a lot of different ways we could fudge around to get an initiative bid. But the idea for a build like this is that we're really trying to take advantage of Thrawn's commands. I think generally I would plot two engineering commands with Thrawn and 1 nav command with Thrawn. And you know, and I want all of these guys, so I would probably have everybody bank an engineering token right away, and then have them kind of do nav for at least for the next 2 turns after that, and then kind of see. And then you're gonna have to judge it based on how you know, how your opponent's playing. But then the general idea would be that the Kuat would go first. You'd have the Simoon behind it, and then these ships kind of off to the side. Hopefully on the side that ends up being a little bit more, you know, probably behind, like the Kuat being the tip of the Star Destroyer, you know, the tip of the arrow. These guys, maybe the Architans and the Gazanti directly behind, and the Simoon kind of off, maybe off to the side, but still generally behind. I might actually have all 3 of these back ones, you know, side by side with the Kuat in front, if we can manage it. Well, let's look at objectives. All right, so since my Kuat has, you know, just ordnance experts, I think advanced gunnery is a phenomenal choice for this one. If that Kuat can get in there and just completely wreak havoc, that would be a very fun thing. So we'll definitely do that. Now for yellow, we're having an interesting one. Like, I do like the idea of fleet ambush. It's gonna help me out with deployment advantage here, since I won't have to worry very much about you know, somebody's squadron setup advantage. So that one is a good one. But I've seen fleet ambush hurt me in the past. But in this case, I think fleet ambush is going to be a good one for me if somebody wants to be in that deployment zone. Depending on where they go, the Kuat could end up getting some first round shots. So I like that one a lot. For navigation, we will go ahead and I think I'll go with Solar Corona in this case. I don't really have any squadrons, so the other stuff isn't going to help me quite as much. And I think that is kind of the build. So I'll put a link, and I need to call this. I want to call this Thrawn's Borg Cube. There we go. All right, so Thrawn's Borg Cube is here. I think this will be a fun one to play. It'll just be, you know, especially if you are in this kind of stale mood right now where we're just not getting anything new and you really want some new stuff announced at Gen Con. Here's maybe a different way to play Thrawn. I see Thrawn being so useful in squadron heavy fleets because he can, you know, just give you whatever you need, and you don't ever have to worry about slicer tools coming in and stopping your squadron command and all of that. So that's the build. Let me pull up the printed version, and I will put a link to Ryan Kingston's fleet builder down in the description below. It's a really good fleet builder. I'm a big fan of it. There is still time to enter the latest round of the giveaway. I've already announced 2 winners for my X-Wing 2.0 conversion kit giveaway, and there's still one more up for grabs that will be coming the next couple of days, so definitely stay tuned for that. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I also want to give a big thanks to all my patrons on Patreon. I want to thank you guys so much for your support. I definitely appreciate it. And I will see you guys at Gen Con. I want to thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.